What's up, guys? It's Werther. I wanted to talk to you today about why the kids are the future. And this isn't just for jiu-jitsu, this is for any activity or sport. The next generation and their interest in any existing activity determines its future. If you don't have any kids, anyone in the younger generation getting involved in your activity, your sport, your martial art, it's going to die in the next generation. That's inevitably what will happen. So if you have a much larger proportion of people going into a martial art and activity, a sport, in the younger generation, it's going to not only survive, it's going to grow, because the next generation of kids, as they grow older, they're going to get their friends to do it. They're going to expand the reach of jiu-jitsu that way. When they get even older than that and they have kids, they're going to put their kids in jiu-jitsu because it's an activity that they did. And that's a huge way that the culture spreads. Look how much it's already spread in the last 30 years. Back in the 90s in America, a purple belt was a rarity. You couldn't find many purple belts. Now they're everywhere. Now every city in the country has at least one or two black belts that have schools that you can train in. So it's grown tremendously in just 1.5 generations. Imagine how much bigger it's going to be in the next generation if we really focus on getting as many kids as possible to do jiu-jitsu. And the way to do that is to simply explain the benefits of jiu-jitsu, which are numerous. It goes well outside of just self-defense. You learn how to deal with failure because you will fail many, many times when you're drilling jiu-jitsu. You're going to be physically dominated, and you need to have a way to overcome the ego destruction that comes with that. You need to be able to process that, oh, okay, I'm going to suck at this for a while. I'm going to lose, but I'm going to be good eventually. And that's an extremely important lesson for kids to learn early, because when they do, they're going to apply it to everything else. If they know that it took them 2-3 years to actually start getting pretty good at jiu-jitsu and doing really well in competition, if they decide to compete, or at least, within the drilling of the school, they start doing really, really well, then they're going to realize that, oh, any other skill that I'm trying to pick up, it's going to take me a long time, and I just need to commit my time and effort to it. And that's what you want. You don't want to produce an adult that gets frustrated when they try learning something new for a couple hours and then they just give up on it. You want someone that understands everything starts with fundamental building blocks, and you got to start small before you work your way up to a high level of competence. That's a very important lesson. In addition to, many jiu-jitsu schools take the traditional martial arts philosophy of teaching kids life lessons at the end of class. So, I have certain themes and stories that I tell my kids at the end of class that touch on things like integrity, things like respect, things like having discipline in your life, and when you're training, and things about being a good training partner, being helpful and kind to those around you. These are important lessons that you can teach kids that are part of the class. And when you do that, the parents like that stuff, right? So the parents like when you reinforce the messages that they're already giving their kids at home. So many times, those kids may not listen to their parents, at least not to the same degree as they'll listen to you, because they only see you for a few hours out of the week, whereas they're always with their parents, and their parents are always telling them things. So when you, as an instructor in an activity that they really enjoy, tell them the same things that their parents are telling them, is like, look, this is what you need to do to be successful, and this is what you need to do to have good character, then that really reinforces the message, right? So that constant reinforcement of the message that the parents are trying to give them at home is very useful to the kids. And when you do that as an instructor, it convinces them that, hey, this is a really positive thing for my kid, even if he's not going to be the best at jiu-jitsu, even if he's not very good physically when he goes to do the drills, he's getting a lot out of this. And so you're convincing them to continue to train. And ultimately, that's what you want, okay? You don't want to put unnecessary pressure on your kids when they're in a jiu-jitsu setting, if you're a parent, or even if you're a coach, right? As long as they're putting forth effort, that should be what you praise as a coach, okay? You should not admonish a kid too much if they're struggling with something or if they're not getting something, as long as they're trying and they're putting forth a genuine effort. Obviously, laziness should be critiqued, and you do need to punish your kids if they're being lazy and they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. But if they're genuinely trying, right, give them encouragement and make sure that they continue to try their best, because eventually they will get better. And that's just the way that things work. So as instructors, as general jiu-jitsu practitioners, right, the best thing we can do to grow our martial art is to convince others that, hey, this has a lot of benefits towards me as an adult, but also kids, and there's a lot that they can get out of it. So if you're a parent and you're on the fence about maybe getting your child involved in a martial arts program, and I would strongly recommend jiu-jitsu if you're going to do that. There's many benefits to it. I've made a previous video on it. I'll post the link in the description so that you guys can go watch it. It's about the reasons why parents should bring their kids into jiu-jitsu. So I think it's really important that we try to get as many of this new generation interested in jiu-jitsu as possible, interested in the philosophy behind this martial art. And it's going to make our culture and our nation stronger if we do. I really believe that. So let's all do our best to be good representatives for our martial art and to try to get as many people involved as possible. So I hope you guys liked the video. That's all I wanted to talk about. So if you agree with what I said, make sure you share the video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you click the notification bell. Every share that you give brings more views, gets more people listening to our message. So for those of you guys that do, I really appreciate it. If you're subscribed to the channel, make sure you click the notification bell, because that will tell you when we have new videos out. Remember guys, we're also putting 2 technique videos per week based on my beginner's curriculum. So make sure you guys check those out. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you guys next time.